Hi folks, how are you doing? In the last 11th round of the Tashkent FIDE Grand Prix, we saw an absolutely wonderful game between Jobava with white pieces and Mamedyarov as black. It was a complete craziness, full of tactics and sacrifices in almost every move, and if you like tactical fireworks, you're gonna be absolutely delighted with this game. It was really a present for chess maniacs. Let's see what happened in this very nice piece of chess. 1d4 was played by Jobava, knight f4, knight f6, sorry, c4, c5, d5, and somehow unexpectedly Mamedyarov goes for the risky opening, but also very beautiful Benoni, modern Benoni with e6, knight c3, takes, d6. Ambitious and aggressive, a good sign. We see this kind of opening between two very creative super GMs like Jobava and Mamedyarov. e4, g6, bishop g7 after knight f3, and h3, the most common probably after bishop e2. Black castles, bishop d3, and Mamedyarov comes with b5. The most common continuation in this position, as strange as it could seem to players not accustomed to be seeing the Benoni, as me for instance. There are hundreds of games here, lots of strong GMs have been trying this extremely interesting line. Black goes already very aggressive, threatening to play b4, overextending his pawns on queen side. So white here must make a decision. The b5 pawn of course is on Prix, and he can choose if he wants to take it with the bishop or with the knight. Both captures here are theoretical. Jobava takes with the knight, and here immediately knight takes e4, sacrificing a piece on e4. The other alternative is to play rook e8, preparing it a little bit more, but Mamedyarov just goes with knight takes immediately, bishop takes, now rook e8, pinning the bishop in the center, threatening to take it back with a check. The way to defend it here, there is some theory, is to play knight g5. Already the position is looking quite awkward, both knights on b5 and g5 on the wings, the bishop on the center pinned, the king in on e1 still. Now queen a5 check, forcing the knight on b5 back to c3, and here black already has his option of taking on c3, both with the bishop then with the queen. Well, it's certainly a possibility. Bishop takes check, b takes, queen takes, bishop d2, and now queen c4, absolutely compensation for black. He's stopping white from castling. There is still this pin on the central e-file. Black is putting extra pressure on the bishop with the queen and the rook, and also d5 is still under attack as the bishop is pinned. So certainly this is a possibility to study, to have a look at if you like the Benoni. But instead of taking, Mamedyarov keeps improving his pieces, developing. He plays bishop a6, definitely stopping white king from castling short with the bishop on a6. Yes, he's down a piece, but there is certainly compensation here. Bishop to d2 was played, and knight d7. In the games I'm consulting, the database I'm consulting, there are still 4 games with this position, with people like Lev Psakis or Yuri Shulman involved, and this is definitely a very interesting position, really an aggressive and cool one. Black is down a whole piece, but he has a huge initiative with all his remaining pieces very active, the queen, both bishops, the rook on e8, and the white king is still in the center, so this makes the position extremely interesting. Queen c2 was played, making lots of sense, defending, giving extra protection to the knight, to the bishop on e4, and which is more important, allowing white king to castle even if it's long. Well, it's not going to be in the center anymore, at least. Rook ab8, anticipating, feeling that white is going to castle long, and of course he does. Now knight e5 is played by Mamedyarov. Once again, note all the compensation black has for the piece. the rook on the b file now, the queen on the a file is very active. The bishop on g7 definitely a monster in this kind of Benoni, Benko structures, or similar to the Dragon Sicilians. And the knight on e5 centralized, ready to jump to c4. Mamedyarov told in the press conference he had somehow looked at this time ago to play it both with white and black, but here after knight e5 he forgot about everything, and he was expecting the knight a4 move, where he thought he should be playing queen d8, probably with the idea to go to f6, and this he told this is fighting chess, black is either losing or winning. And instead Jobava plays a more, well, another move which is also looking natural, rook h e1, centralizing his rook. Here rook ec8 is played, improving the rook to a place to a c file, which could be very, very important, as there are the king and the queen of white here. And here knight c4 was played. Well, first I should mention probably here that knight c4 was commented by both players in the press conference, Jobava and Mamedyarov. They thought here bishop d3, rook takes, and here rook takes b2, attacking the queen, but they agreed that after rook e8 check, bishop f8, queen takes on b2, knight takes, and bishop takes a6, and white is winning. Incredible, it's too much, they said, too much compensation, too many pieces for white, for the queen. So these kind of crazy tactics they had to calculate during the game. This is an absolutely amazing line with sacrifices and calculation all around. Well, instead Mamedyarov played rook ec8 as we saw, and now knight a4 was played, which was answered by a very, very nice move, rook to b4, dare to take it. I'm attacking the knight on a4, and well, of course taking on b4 isn't very nice, as c takes, and now we see the protected rook on c8 is worth all its weight in gold, as it's forking the king and the queen, winning the house. But of course the rook is under attack, the knight is under attack, so how do you answer that? Well, you attack another piece, f4, attack the knight on e5, which comes to c4, and here we reach absolutely the climax probably of this game, a very amazing moment. I mean, I struggle to find words to describe this position. Your knight is under attack, and what do you play here? Well, you put another piece under attack, bishop to f5. How nice is this? I mean, you're attacking c8, but certainly both knight and bishop are on Prix right now. Let's try to see what happens if either of them are taken. First, let's see, rook takes a4. Well, not very recommendable, as the queen is now handing on a5. Well, that's one we don't want to play, but what if queen takes on a4? Let me see if I can make that move. Yeah, queen takes a4. Well, then probably queen takes, rook takes, and now bishop takes c8. Lots of simplification would happen here, but favoring white. Now bishop takes b2 with check is possible, king b1, and if bishop takes c8, rook e8 check, king g8, picking the bishop on c8 and just count the pieces. Too many of them sacrificed for black, and there is not so much obvious compensation, I think, for black anymore, now that the dust has settled. And finally, the other possibility after bishop f5 was to take on f5 with the pawn, which was certainly discussed by the players on the press conference. Now queen takes, and this is the compensation, this is the idea of white. He's attacking both f7 and h7 with the knight and the queen, and well, here they discussed, Jobava and Mamedyarov discussed, if queen takes f7 check, king h8, bishop c3, and they, well, Mamedyarov said white is either winning or losing. Just look at this, is attacking g7, it cannot take because h7 is checkmate. So absolutely crazy position, ideal for tacticians to calculate and to try to find out amazing solutions to these positions. Well, this wasn't played. Mamedyarov, they agreed that rook cb8, what he played, was kind of an only move, putting even more fire on b2. Now bishop finally takes on b4, queen takes, b2 is under heavy attack with 4 pieces, the bishop, the knight, the queen and the rook. Here a3 was played. Well, if you look at the engine, it will say this is not the most the best move, but it's leading to more sacrifices, so we say kudos to Jobava for playing this. Knight takes a3, b takes, and queen takes with check. 2 whole pieces is what black has sacrificed, but after queen g3, look at the position, tell me if black has or hasn't any compensation. All the remaining black pieces controlling the board completely, the rook absolutely dominating the b file, the bishop pair really looking amazing here, white king in the center, black queen is about to take on f4 with a check, in which case f5, the knight on g5 and the knight on a4 would be Prix. So once again, I can't stop repeating it, this is an amazing game. Jobava plays rook b1, and of course queen takes f4 check, king d1, rooks are exchanged here, queen takes, and there are 3 pieces of white hanging right now, the knights on g5 and a4 and the bishop on f5, but Mamedyarov didn't took neither of them. And let's see what was happening with these captures very briefly. Queen takes g5 wasn't that great because rook e8 check was possible. Now it's black king who's under some trouble, bishop f8 and queen b8, and this queen has to go back protecting bishop, and probably this is not that great for black. On the other hand, queen takes a4 with a check was a decent alternative, as it comes with a check, and well, black still can imagine lots of things, as his bishop pair is very important here. Taking on f5, taking the bishop on f5 was another possibility, certainly another messy one. Rook e8 check, always white has this kind of ideas, bishop f8, and if queen b8, now queen takes a4 check, comes again with the check, the capture of the knight, king c1, and it seems black has at least some checks, some continuous check, well, perpetual check, I don't know. This is an amazing position. Not sure if black can try to achieve anything more, probably not. And finally we have the move that Mamedyarov played. He played queen to d4 check, king c1, now he checks from f4, king d1, and now he takes with the g pawn the f5 bishop. Rook e8 check was played, bishop f8, and now knight takes c5, another sacrifice. Now it's white's turn to sacrifice the knight. The point being that after d takes, white is playing queen b8, attacking both f8 bishop and attacking the queen on f4, forcing my black to decide what he's going to do, either going for what could be probably a draw after lots of checks, or exchanging the queens and going into somehow unclear but maybe slightly worse endgame for black. But after knight takes c5, well, Mamedyarov says, I'll pick up that knight, no worries, but I'll take it with the queen after queen d4 check, king c1, now I take c5 with the check, not allowing that queen b8 possibility, queen c2, and here some checks we saw. And after this, queen took on g2, trying still to play on for some moves, but after queen h5, white is really sieging black king with all his pieces, rook, knight and queen, and unfortunately for Mamedyarov, the white king isn't very safe either, and after queen g1 they just agreed this was a draw because white is not escaping checks. So 37 moves of pure beauty here. Amazing game between Bahadur Jobava and Shahryar Mamedyarov with tons of sacrifices, tactical fireworks everywhere. Try to calculate it out, all the variations that we saw in this game. Try to work out other variations I didn't discuss. This is chess, that's why we love it. Thanks for watching.